Are we going to be dancing again this year? It's opening day 2023. It's time for the Phillies to see if they can defend their NL pennant crown, get back to the World Series. So much hope in 2023. The World Series redemption tour starts. All my final predictions, all my final thoughts at this moment on this Philadelphia Phillies team, and some little personal news at the end of the show. Stay tuned. Trending in the AM starts in 30 seconds.
Holding gets around in front.
And Philadelphia has it.
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media. We're live, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow on all social media platforms. And do us that favor. Hit that like and the subscribe button there on the DSM Media YouTube page. I greatly appreciate it. It is opening day 2023. Time to dance our way back to defending our NL pennant crown, trying to get that redemption for another World Series run. I am your host, Phil Stifel. I'm pumped. I love opening day. Opening day is just such a great moment all the time. I mean, it's springtime. It signifies, summer is around the corner, baseball, hot dogs. There's so much positivity that opening day brings to me. And I love it. I will say, I really do wish that opening day was at home. I am a big fan of when opening day is in the home ballpark. A little bit more fun, a little bit more edge when that first game is here. We don't get home till next week. Sometimes our first 5, 6, 7 games on the road. So that's no fun. But it is what it is. I'm super excited to be here. I'm super excited to talk Phillies. And that's what I know. The Sixers had a big comeback win last night, but I'm over it. I'm not worried about the Sixers right now because it's opening day. So it's time to talk predictions. It's time to talk final thoughts about what this Phillies team is going to be like this year. And I think, I was thinking about how I was going to go through the process of going through my thoughts on this team. And I was thinking, do I save my final score record prediction for the end or the beginning or middle or what I'm going to do? But what I've decided to do, and today, opening day, we're in Texas. We're facing Jacob deGrom and the Texas Rangers. Really surprised Jacob deGrom. I'm really surprised the Mets let Jacob deGrom go to Texas like that, but whatever there. I'm going to give you my prediction to start the show, what my Phillies prediction is. And I've got the Phillies winning exactly the same amount of games as last year, 87 and 75. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend the next hour with you guys talking why I'm at that point. I've got a lot of people's predictions that have messaged me that couldn't be on the show. I know this Phillies team has made improvements to its roster, bringing in Taijuan Walker in the starting rotation. Obviously, Trey Turner, huge addition to this team. But 87 and 75 is my prediction. And, my man Mark Moschitelli, part of the show sometimes, he's got 94 wins projected. Jason Voorhees, he's got 96 wins on his projection. I just don't know if this Phillies team, as constructed today on March 30th, there's still 2 days left in March even, is ready to win 90-plus games. I also don't think what this team looks like right now will be what this team looks like at the end of the season come playoff time. I have 87 wins. I still have the Phillies making the playoffs. They will be one of the wild card teams, et cetera. We'll get to how I see the end of the season playing out. But as constructed right now, without Bryce Harper till late May, early June, I still will put my thing. If you had to give me an over-under and you said June 30th over-under, I'm taking over. I'm taking July 1st still as the first time we see Bryce Harper in Phillies pinstripes in the starting lineup. And he will be that straight DH this whole entire season. So, I was really not even sure what my final prediction for this team was going to be until the other day, the last spring training game 2 days ago. And they rolled out what probably will be today's a right-handed lineup, so right-handed pitcher, so it'll be a different lineup. But what their lineup's going to look like when we face a left-handed hitter till Bryce Harper comes back. And when I saw that lineup, Trey Turner on the leadoff spot, Schwartz DHing in the 2-hole, JT, Casty in right field in the 4-hole, Stott in the 5-hole, Alec Boehm in the 6 playing first base, Jake Cave in left field, Amundo Sosa playing third in the 8-hole, and Brandon Marsh center field in the 9-hole. When I saw that lineup, that was the moment when I'm like, it's a good team. But this is not a great team till Bryce Harper comes back. That lineup there, that's not good. The loss of Rhys Hoskins. Look, unless Derek Hall is going to play every day, lefty or righty, that lineup against lefties, that's a below replacement level lineup. Jake Cave, Sosa, Stott as your 5-hole hitter. Guys, that's not a lineup that gives you uber amount of confidence. You got Castellanos as your cleanup hitter in that lineup. Is Castellanos going to have that rebound, that positive regression? Is Castellanos going to hit 260, 270? Is he going to drive in 80, 90 runs this year, hit 30 home runs, 30 doubles, whatever it may be, whatever you need him to do? I hope so. But you can't make your predictions on hopes, wishes, and dreams. You got to make your predictions on what you see on paper. And on paper, that lefty lineup, scary bad. Outside the top 3 guys, there's no guarantees anywhere in that lineup. Now, the lineup to me against a righty would look a little different. You would have Turner, Schwartz, JT, either Casty or Hall, 4-5, then Boehm, Stott, Sosa, Marsh. That's a little bit better. But that's also assuming Derek Hall can play every day in Major League Baseball. I say you got to give him every day and let him go out there against lefties and righties. That's assuming Derek Hall is capable. I don't know if Derek Hall is capable of playing every day in Major League Baseball. We're assuming he's going to fill in for Rhys Hoskins very well. But we don't know that. We can't assume that. So, the lineup, once you get Harper back, obviously it's much better. You can slide people around differently. And even though, and this lineup, which I got with Harper in it, would have looked so much different if Rhys Hoskins was still in the lineup. But right now, because he's not, you're probably moving Boehm to first most of the year, it looks like, and when Derek Hall's not out there, you got Sosa third. A lineup with Harper would be Turner, Schwartz, Harper in the 3-hole, JT 4, Casty 5, Boehm 6. Now you got Stott 7, Sosa 8, Marsh 9. All right, now you're looking at a lineup that's a little bit more balanced, a little bit more threatening with Bryce Harper back in it. But man, the loss of Rhys Hoskins just isn't being discussed on how big of a deal it really is. Like, it's sad, it's scary, it's not good. And we're all assuming a lot of things. Assumption, it's the mother of all ups, okay? Assuming makes an ass out of you and me. You've heard all the cliche terms. But in my mind, you cannot assume whatsoever that Hall is going to be able to play every day. You cannot assume that Amundo Sosa is going to turn into magically this great hitter. You can't assume that Castellanos is going to have positive regression. And, we hope, but we just can't assume that. So let's think about some things with this team here. Let's start talking about some predictions. Bryce Harper, I don't want the team to, because it sounds like, first and foremost, it sounds like I'm being ultra negative. I am not being ultra negative about this Phillies team. I still think this Phillies team is a wild card team. They are going to compete for the division again. They are going to be in the thick of it all year. We don't have to worry about the Joe Girardi lull to start the season this year. Rob Thompson gets his first full year in the big boy chair. I'm not being ultra negative. I just think there's enough holes that we might not start the season out 21-28 or 22-28, whatever it is. But we're not going to come out of the gates and be 30-20 to start the season. We're not going to come out of the gate and just win 100 games right off the bat. Exactly, Kyle. It is very hard to make up 30 home runs and 80 RBIs. And that's what Rhys Hoskins, that's what you're missing. Now, again, if somehow Nick Castellanos gets to where we thought he was going to be last year, it dampers the blow a little bit, but we need Nick Castellanos to be where he was, where we expected him last year, not to replace Rhys Hoskins, but just because he's getting paid to do that. So, why do I got them at 87 wins? All right, let's look at some of the things I'm thinking about here. Bryce Harper, July 1st. Now, if Bryce Harper pushes it and comes back sooner, like really sooner, maybe like June 1st, which is rumors that he might be back in May, that changes the 87 win projection. The sooner Bryce Harper comes back, the better. I just don't think it's going to happen. I still got Bryce Harper not back till July 1st, and call it what it is. Hell, Bryce Harper still's got MVP odds. I got a whole bunch of over-unders and odds on here. You can still bet Bryce Harper to win the MVP at 35-1. That's not insane. I mean, it's insane that he's got such good numbers and he's going to miss months of the season. But that just goes to show how important he is getting back and getting him back healthy and getting him back in the right way can help influence the success of this team. Trey Turner. Does Trey Turner, this Trey Turner talk about how great he is he going to be a 40-40 guy? I fully expect him to be a 40-40 guy. 40 doubles and 40 steals this year. Hit 22, 23 home runs last year. I expect him at 25, 28 home runs. I expect about a 300 batting average from him. I expect Gold Glove defense. But what you're doing with Trey Turner now is the guy that's replacing Rhys Hoskins' production. He's the guy that's replacing Bryce Harper's production till he's back. So it's not like it's a positive. Like, it's a positive that he's here. But if you had Hoskins and Bryce Harper starting today in the lineup and you added Trey Turner to it, that's a lot different than taking those two guys out of the lineup and you're just putting Trey Turner in place. And I know Jason was talking yesterday about, or a couple days ago about, because he's going to be different leading off and setting the table. I get that. It's a leadoff hit. I cannot think of the last time we had a true leadoff hitter. And it's going to be great. But you still got a weak lineup around him. You still got question marks around him till Harper is back. So I fully expect Trey Turner to be a 40-40 guy. I expect 300, 40 doubles, 40 steals, 25 home runs, about 85 RBIs from him. Probably somewhere in that 900 OPS. That's what I expect. That's what I hope. And Gold Glove defense. Absolutely. So Nick Castellanos, I think that's one of the keys to this lineup, obviously. And I wrote down, I got notes here, all my projections, all my predictions. On another side, it's got all the odds and betting numbers. And I didn't write anything next to Nick Castellanos' name because I'm still so torn on Nick Castellanos. I want to say that last year was a blip on the radar. It was just a Thanos snap, But I just don't know. And I want to say he's going to hit 260, 270, but he hit close to 260 last year. Kyle's saying 50 steals for Trey Turner. Well, there's going to be – see, the thing is, there's going to be a higher number of steals this year with the rule changes, and we're going to get to the rule changes in a second. There will obviously be more steals. There is a chance that 50 steals for Trey Turner is legit. I think before the rule changes, he had one or two seasons early in his career where he had 50 steals. So it's definitely possible. Definitely possible. So we'll see how that plays out. But at least 40 and 40 there for sure. Castellanos. He had close to 260 last year. I need 275. I need 25 home runs and I need 40 doubles from Nick Castellanos. If you get that from Nick Castellanos, he at least is earning his paycheck. I kind of need him to get close to 100 RBIs because he's kind of got to pick up the slack. The 80 RBIs from Rhys Hoskins, the loss of Bryce Harper's RBI production in the first part of the season, I need Nick Castellanos to be on pace to drive in 100 runs this year. That's going to be the key. Like we saw the other day, he was in the 4-hole. Well, in the 4-hole, you got to be able to drive in runs. 263. Yeah, I knew it was right around there. Statistician, you're coming with me, my man. Castellanos, he needs to get to 100 RBIs or damn close. And if he doesn't, then that's the thing. Like, we need him to get to 100. Can he get to 100? If he can get to 100 RBIs, then yeah, my 87 win projection is a little light. But will he? I don't know. So that's interesting right there. I wrote an interesting projection down here. And I don't know if it's a good projection. It's stupid projection. And if it does come true, is that bad news or good news? And that's Edmundo Sosa will start. I tweaked it because I know I asked this question to Jason the other day, but I phrased it wrong. Edmundo Sosa will start 100 games or more this year for the Phillies. Yeah, he's only had 100 RBIs twice. Yeah, I know. And he's not a home run hitter. But in this lineup, if the top of the order gets on, Trey Turner gets on, JT gets on the way we expect him to, he's going to have to get there. All right, so maybe not 100, maybe 98 or 95 or something like that. 75, 80 RBIs from Nick Castellanos at the price you're paying him, it's just not good enough. And that's what happens when you get 87. That's how you get 87 wins. If he has 80 RBIs, we win 87 games this year. That's just the way it's going to be. They love Edmundo Sosa in Philly. Rob Thompson, Dave Dombrowski. It seems like everybody loves him. And he's going to start a lot. It's going to come down. You're going to see, especially if Derek Hall struggles against lefties, you're going to see a lot of Alec Bohm at first, and you're going to see a lot of Edmundo Sosa at third base, it seems like. We saw it the other day. I think we're going to see it today in the starting lineup. You're going to have let's see here. Yeah, you're going to have Hall DHing today. Boom, playing first base and Sosa at third. That's my guess. I keep getting distracted. I keep going to Twitter here. I keep hoping that we get an early release. The game's at 4. It's a little early to release opening day lineup, but you kind of got to think that Rob Thompson already knows what today's lineup's going to be. I keep hoping that the lineup gets released before the show's over. I doubt it. It's a little early. 1 o'clock games, you would see them by the end of the show. But you're going to see Sosa play a lot. And there's a lot of hype on Sosa. He's like a career 190 hitter. Like, I know he performed well once he got to Philly last year, and he had a great spring. But, man, the hype that's around Edmundo Sosa, hell, and Christian Pache, however we say his name, picked up a trade yesterday, an Oakland Athletics outfielder. Guy's got like a 150 career batting average, but he was a hot prospect at one point. It's a low risk, high reward type trade yesterday, but he's going to be on the opening day roster, and he's a huge defensive guy. Great. Love it. But you can only have so many defensive stalwarts that can't hit in a lineup. And we don't know Sosa can hit over a long period of time. We hope he can. But I have a feeling that Sosa will be a regular starter on this team. I think at first it's going to be a every so often thing. But as this season rolls on, you're going to see it be every day. Because, again, I'm not overly confident in Derek Hall's ability to play regularly. So I have Edmundo Sosa starting 100 games this year. I think it's interesting. And if that happens, that's why we're at 87 wins. Bryson Stott and Alec Bohm, these two guys, two young guys on this team. Bohm needs to hit 20. People are talking about 25 home runs, 30 home runs from him. 25, I still think, is the max out for Alex Bohm home run production. But he needs to hit 300. Talking about a lot of guys that got to hit 300 and 280 and stuff like that. Really hard to get everybody to hit 300. I think Alec Bohm has 200 hit potential in his career at some point. Will he take that step forward this year? Will bouncing between third and first affect him? Will relearning a new position as first base affect him? That's why I love consistency for baseball players. Bouncing around, it's such a bad thing to do. Bouncing from position to position, different spots in the order. I think it's the old school way of doing it, but consistency is the key. Knowing where you're going to be in that lineup and where you're going to be on that field every day is important. And I'm worried. And Bryson Stott, he's going to get that consistency. He's going to be in that lineup every day playing second base. But I kind of feel like we're going to see a little bit of a regression from Bryson Stott this year. Not to the point where he gets demoted like the start of last year, but he had 2 different seasons last year. He had the first half of the season under Joe Girardi, where he was just an abomination. And then the second half of the season under Rob Thompson, where he gained a lot of confidence. And I see him as a potential leadoff or number 2 hitter in baseball someday. But I think this year you're going to see something in between. Not exactly that bad end or not, and also not that top end. You're going to see somewhere in the middle with him. And I think that's okay. I think him regressing a little bit wouldn't hurt the team quite as much. But that's just, anybody that expects young Bryson Stott to hit 275 and 20 home runs and, doubles and be a consistent cog, you're just expecting too much from him, I think, at this point of the season. All that put together, the fact that you're going to have Jake Cave starting baseball games for this team, early in the season. This is why I say 87 wins. And we haven't even talked about the pitching yet. Because Dave Dombrowski said it the other day. We are, and I quote, razor thin in the starting pitching department right now. Ranger Suarez might not see him until May, maybe June. And when you got those kind of arm problems like that, it keeps getting pushed down the line a little bit. Let me tell you something. One of my strangest predictions, I guess I'm going to say, is that I feel Ranger Suarez will come out of the bullpen more times than start this year for the Phillies. He's going to be a bullpen guy. He's got arm problems. He's already pitched well. Kyle, 90 wins is a little bit more understanding than Jason's 96 and Mark's 94. But I still think a lot's got to go right to get to 90 wins. I do. Now, I think Dave Dombrowski, the team you see today isn't going to be the team you see in a month or 2 months from now. I think Dave Dombrowski will be out there looking for another starting pitcher because we don't know when Ranger Suarez is going to be back. We don't know what's going on with Andrew Painter yet. Big Drew saying 95 wins. Again, so much has to go perfectly, Drew, for that to happen. You're right in between Mark and Jason's 94 and 96 prediction. So much has to go right. I know everybody's so positive, and I'm positive. I know, Drew, it sounds like I'm being uber negative right now. I'm not. I've got a lot of hope for this team. But to get to 95 wins, so much has to go right with so many questionable things that are happening right now. But I do think Dave Dombrowski will make a move for another starting pitcher sooner rather than later. Who it's going to be, I don't know. Who I want, I don't know. But there will be another starting pitcher brought in here. Will Aaron Nola's contract situation help him or hurt him? Drew, I disagree. Pitching is not better right now. Let's go through. You got Ranger Suarez and Andrew Painter out. You got Bailey Falter. I'm high on Bailey Falter. I think he's a perfect number 5 guy in this lineup, or rotation. Nola got the contract situation. Will that motivate him to be better, or will that hold him back? I've seen it go both ways. I don't know. Didn't have a great spring. Zach Wheeler, another guy. Every year, more wear and tear on that arm. He's had injury history in the past. He's had dead arm in the past. Will he be able to, after a long season last year, be dominant this year? Possibly. Taijuan Walker, great pickup to have in the middle, back end of your rotation. But where are the rest of the starts coming from? Who's your 5th starter? Who's going to be that guy? I mean, Bailey Falter's a great number 5 starter. But is he a great 4 starter? Great 3 starter? No. So here's my predictions, okay? There will be, because of my prediction on Ranger Suarez, there will be at least one other guy that starts at least 15-plus games for the Phillies this year that we don't know. Somebody that's not on this roster right now, there will be somebody else that starts at least 15 games for the Phillies. Now, Aaron Nola, I got him projected right around 3.85 to 4 in the ERA. Good, but not as good as last year. Better than his down year, but not as great. I think he's going to have a lot more ups and a lot more downs this year. I think Zach Wheeler bounces back. Last year, Zach Wheeler pitched great. People think Zach Wheeler pitched terribly last year just because it wasn't Cy Young level. But he pitched to an under 3 ERA last year. I think he's in the top 3 for Cy Young again this year. I don't think he wins it, but he's going to push for it. I think Bailey Falter, again, just like last year, people forget, he had a 3.86 ERA last year, Bailey Falter. He's going to pitch under 4 ERA again this year. I really, truly believe that. I see it coming in over here. It hasn't popped up on my screen yet. I totally disagree, Drew. It is so hard, first off, to win 17, 18 games as a pitcher. Very few do. It's not like in the old days where guys win 20 games. Aaron Nola, we're going to get to the odds. I'll just jump right to it. Right now on DraftKings.com, the over-under win total for Aaron Nola, Drew, is 13.5. That's just telling. Maybe I take the over. Maybe he wins 14 games, but 12 to 14 games is where Aaron Nola will end up. In the bullpen, there's question marks in the bullpen. I know that the bullpen looks 100 times better than it did last year, but you got Soto and Alvarado, 2 hothead left-handed relievers. People forget Alvarado got demoted at one point last year. Soto is the same, can be lights out 100 miles an hour, strike out 47 guys in 30 innings. He can also walk 50 people in 30 innings. One of those 2 guys is going to bomb out this year. Luckily, you have both, but one of them's going to have a bad season. So Anthony Dominguez, you're going to, for the rest of his career, and I know he signed a 2-year extension to stay here in Philly. At some point, for the rest of his career, you're going to question his health, and I'm going to question his health. Matt Strahm, who's supposed to be a middle of the road, bullpen kind of guy, lefty, he's now going to start for the time being because of these question marks. Craig Kimbrell, that to me is the key. Can we get old school Craig Kimbrell out of the bullpen? My prediction, and this is a bold prediction, that Craig Kimbrell leads the team in saves. Now, I'm not saying he's going to have 40 saves or anything like that, because we're going to see a save by committee, bullpen, closer by committee to start to an extent. But I think by end of the season, if Kimbrell rekindles some form of his, former self, that he's going to take over that closer role, and Dominguez will be used in that high leverage situation that Rob Thompson liked to use him in the playoffs last year. And I think that's because I think Dominguez is great in that. When's the highest leverage? That's when we use him. And then you save Kimbrell, who's used to being just in the 9th inning, for that 9th inning, no matter what the situation calls for. That's my prediction. So, you look up and down here. There's quite even if the bullpen has some injuries or something like that, you've got enough depth there that it'll still be. You don't have when Corey Knebel fails and you have nobody else to turn to, or when Brad Hand gets hurt, you've got nobody else to turn to, or David Robertson gets hurt and you've got nobody else to turn to. You've got 5 guys, and that doesn't even talk about the fact that I think Connor Brogdon is going to be the MVP of this bullpen this year. He is going to be lights out, and he's going to earn a spot of being one of the clutch, high-leverage guys this year right there with Sir Anthony Dominguez. I expect big, big, big things from Connor Brogdon this year. Really, really do. All right, so let's look at some of these numbers. So they're 18-1 to win the World Series, the Phillies. They're, I think it's like 7th or 9th or something like that to win the World Series. I bet it every year, whether I like it or not. I always like to bet my team to win the championship, no matter what sport it's in. But they're 9-1 to win the NL again. They're your NL defending champs, and they're 6th in the projections to win the NL. Like I said at the beginning, over under 88.5 wins is the projection, or the projections. Make the playoffs, yes or no? They're minus 170 to make the playoffs, plus 145 to miss. So the odds are saying that they're going to make the playoffs again. But again, everything we've talked about for the first 30 minutes here, this is why I'm at 87 wins right now. Now, I strongly believe that 90, 92 is possible. 94, 95, 96, that's a stretch. So much has to go right. But 87 to 90 wins is very doable. I mean, I just strongly believe, I wouldn't bet that over under 88.5 because I just truly believe that the team we see today is going to be drastically different than the team we see in a month or two when Bryce Harper comes back, but also by July 1st when we've got a new starting pitcher in here. Because I know I'm confident we're going to have somebody else in here. I'm confident he's going to bring in another player too. Eventually, he's going to realize that we need somebody else to replace Rhys Hoskins. That's all going to change everything. 3 months into the season, we'll know what's going on with Castellanos or Sosa or Bohm or Stott. The only sure things we have on this team are that Trey Turner is a stud. JT Realmuto is the best catcher in baseball at this moment. That's all we know. That's all we know for sure right now. Excuse me for a half a second. We know it's spring. Opening day equals spring, which equals allergy season back. So we know all that. And I'm feeling it today. I know it's a little cooler today, but man, I'm feeling it today. There's very few sure things on this team. So I'm at 87 now, but I'm leaving the door open that they could get to 90, maybe 92. Let's look at some of these other odds and numbers here. Kyle Schwarber is listed. So these are just the odds I pulled off of DraftKings Sportsbook last night. Kyle Schwarber's over-under is at 37.5 home runs. I think he hits 40 home runs this year. Yeah, I mean, I think the over on that is a strong bet. They got the over-under on Trey Turner. Eat local honey. I hate the taste of honey, but I do drink honey flavored tea. Yeah, a little teaspoon. Yeah, that might help. I mean, I will try. I take so much medicine every single day, Kyle. I'm willing to try it. I've been taking this medicine every day for since we knew each other in high school. Trey Turner over under 23.5 home runs. I think they're the only two Phillies on the home run sports book bets that you can make. And I would take the over on both of them. I wonder if I could parlay the Turner and Schwarber both to go over their number on home runs. I would be very, very positive on that. Schwarber's the only RBI guy on the list. He's over under 92.5 RBIs. I could see a 40 and 100 season from Schwarber. He's going to have a few more RBIs than last year because he's going to have Turner hit in front of him. His home runs are going to have somebody else on base in front of him. I like that. The next one that I found is very interesting to me, and that's hits. There's two guys on DraftKings Sportsbooks over under on hits. It's Trey Turner over under 176.5. We're feeling great. It's opening day. And I'm predicting the Phillies only win 87 games, and I'm going to get crushed for it. Trey Turner over under 176 hits. I mean, he's hit 200 hits a couple times in his career. It's possible. I hope he hits 180, 185 hits this year. If the under on the Trey Turner number hits, then we're in trouble for the Phillies. 87 wins isn't going to happen. Alec Bohm is the other one you could bet on DraftKings for over-under on hits. And this fits into that Alec Bohm, can he be a 300 hitter? I think Alec Bohm could be a 200, not this year, but I think Alec Bohm could be 200 hits a season type guy. I think Alec Bohm can hit over 150 hits this year. And I would like to consider placing that bet on over 150.5 hits. The only thing is, like I said a few minutes ago, can he adjust to bouncing around first to third, whatever it's going to be? Yeah, I mean, I haven't said where they're going to go out in the playoffs or if they're going to win the World Series, but I got 87 wins because there are a lot of question marks right now, Cole. You missed the first half of the show. I went through all my question marks. Now, if all of them work out, sure, we're going to win more than 87 games. If my prediction that this is not the same roster we see in a month or two, yeah, we could win more than 87 games, but at this point, they're an 87-win team again because there's too many question marks on this roster. All right, there's two over-unders on wins on DraftKings. Nola, I already said it to you, Drew. Nola's listed at 13.5 wins over or under. And I think that's a spot on. That's a number that I wouldn't bet because he's going to win 13 games or 14 games this year. He's going to struggle at times this year. The number I would bet is Zach Wheeler. He's only listed at 12.5 wins. That scares me because in my mind, Zach Wheeler's going to have another Cy Young Award type year, 15, 16 wins. But is that a DraftKings number tricking us that, maybe they know something that we don't and he's going to have an off year? I don't know. They also have Nola much higher than Wheeler on the strikeout over-under. Nola's projected at 212 and a half strikeouts over-under. And Wheeler only 182 and a half. Wow. I don't know. I wouldn't bet either. I'm not betting any of those pitchers right there. I just won't. The Cy Young numbers, Wheeler and Nola are both 12-1 to win the Cy Young, both eighth. So there's only 7 guys projected higher than them in the Cy Young numbers right now. I like Wheeler more than Nola this year. I do. Taijuan Walker is 100-1. He is on the board. You can bet Taijuan Walker. I wouldn't. I don't know why you would. You know what's really interesting is that Andrew Painter is still on the Rookie of the Year betting board right now. He's 11-1, fifth in the odds board to win NL Rookie of the Year. That kind of tells me maybe that some people think that there's a chance Andrew Painter is back this year. Maybe he's back sooner than we think. I don't know. It's interesting. I really find it interesting that Andrew Painter, I bet him to win Rookie of the Year like a month and a half, 2 months ago. And he was right around the 4th or 5th. So his odds haven't changed much. Just 1 or 2 names have jumped ahead of him in the Rookie of the Year race. So I think that's really interesting. And then, of course, there's the MVP numbers. I already said it before. It's hilarious that Bryce Harper is 35-1 to win the MVP. It really is. It just goes to show that no matter whether he comes back June 1st, July 1st, whatever it may be, that's how important to this team he is, that he could play half the season, 2/3 of the season, and still be in the conversation for MVP. JT Realmuto, best catcher in baseball. Nick Castellanos are both 100-1. I bet Nick Castellanos as a joke like 2 months ago to win the MVP. I regret it. I only put like $2 on it. But, maybe. If he has 30 home runs, 100 RBIs, hits 300, yeah. If he picks up the Rhys Hoskins, Bryce Harper slack, yeah. It's in the conversation. He was in the conversation before. Alec Bohm, 90-1. Kyle Schwarber, 30-1 MVP. And then, of course, Mr. Captain America, Team USA MVP. Trey Turner is the second favorite to win the MVP at this moment. Juan Soto is the favorite. Trey Turner is 8-1 to win the MVP. That's interesting. I'm not going to throw out 8-1 MVP. Not enough juice there for me. I made my bet. I have to lie in the Nick Castellanos MVP. Look, again, all the negativity you feel like you hear coming from me. It's not negativity at all. This is a damn good baseball team. When Bryce Harper comes back, that Turner, Schwarber in the 2-hole, Harper 3, JT 4, Casty, Bohm 4, 5, or 5, 6, depending on which order you want to go. Stott, Sosa, March at the bottom. That's doable for me. That's a 90-win lineup. Now, if you could get Bohm back to third, find somebody to play first base, whoever it may be. What if Dark Hall? Like if Dark Hall can hit lefties, and all of a sudden your lineup would be Turner, Schwartz, Harper, JT, Casty, Hall, Bohm, Stott, Marsh. And then Sosa coming in defensive replacements. Now all of a sudden you're talking 92 wins. There's too many question marks at this point, in my opinion. And that is where the 87 and 75 prediction comes from. Now, I'm going to be honest. I do not have the Phillies getting back to the World Series this year. I'm going to close this portion of this show. Stay tuned, everybody. I got one other thing I want to talk about, one other announcement that I got to make at the end of this show here. So hang in there with me for a second. I got the Phillies winning 87 games. I got them making the playoffs in the wild card. Maybe they get out of the first round of the wild card. I do not think they win the NL pennant again. There's a reason why going to the World Series 2 years in a row is so difficult. So much has to go right. And at this moment, as the team is constructed right now, I cannot predict another World Series appearance for the Phillies. Again, I leave the door open for that to happen. If Dave Dombrowski is as aggressive, this is a window right now, for the Phillies to win the World Series. But Dave Dombrowski has to be aggressive, find another pitcher, find another first baseman, whatever it may be. When we see this team on July 1st, I may be open to changing my opinion. But as of today, March 30th, opening day, they do not make the World Series. They either lose in the division round or the NL championship. That's just that's just where I'm at with this right now. You got tonight, you got the Phillies against DeGrom or Jacob DeGrom. It'll be, hopeful. I don't know. Jacob DeGrom's only pitched 6 innings in the spring. I'm looking real quick, see if they released an opening day lineup yet. They have not released an opening day lineup yet. That's all good. Let's see here. I'm going to the Phillies website. No opening day lineup just yet. Phillies are underdogs today against Jacob DeGrom. Minus 135 is Texas. Plus 115 is the money line for the Phillies. I actually kind of like the Phillies to win on opening day today. Jacob DeGrom, I would actually smash that plus 135. He's pitched 6 innings in spring. Nola hasn't looked great, but he's looked better. DeGrom ain't going to go more than 3 or 4 innings. Texas is not a great team, in my opinion. So I can see the Phillies getting the W today. I know my man Eitan from the Sanders show. He bet, I forget what the odds he got were, but the Phillies to start the season 5-0, and it's really conceivable the way the season's lining up and everything that they could start out hot. But I definitely got them winning today on opening day. Maybe that's a little opening day positivity. Maybe not. I really wish I had the opening day lineup. I really wanted to see what it looked like today. I don't have it. But oh well. We'll see. We'll see it, in probably an hour or two. I'm sure somebody will release what it is. Anyway, Phillies playoffs come up just short again this year, but it's going to be a fun season, guys. I can't wait to get down to Citizen Bank Park this year, hang out with some of you down there. So yeah, that's that. All right, on to some news here. This is the last episode of Trending in the AM on DSM Media. It's not the end of Trending in the AM, but this is the end of my time hosting shows on DSM. I'm taking tomorrow morning off, and next week I will be on a new network. This is not anything bad that happened. This is a big thing, good thing. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody. I mean, we've been doing this Trend in the AM for, I think I figured out it's like 18, 19 months. It's been almost 2 years here at DSM Media. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank DSM Media. I want to thank Scotty and Dylan, giving me a home when I just gotten started in the podcasting career for a year, and and things happened at my last network, and I needed a place to hang my hat. And they gave me the opportunity to join them as they were starting this company, this brand out. I am staying on and helping them out in any way possible that they'll let me. But an opportunity arose for me to take my show to a different network, a bigger network, a network with a larger following, all the bells and whistles. And I had to take the opportunity to continue my growth in the sports content, the sports media, the sports world in general. I thoroughly enjoy doing this morning show, and I want to get a bigger and better and smarter and grow every day possible. And this opportunity wasn't something I was searching out for. It's something that kind of fell in my lap, something that I had to take advantage of. So again, thank you to Dylan for giving me the chance. Scotty, I love Scotty. Scotty's one of my OGs. If you go through the DSM Media YouTube page, you'll see videos from before it was DSM, when it was just Scotty's personal channel, that me and him 3 years ago were doing shows together. When we were at previous networks together, we've bounced around the world together here in the sports content creation world. Scotty's and me, he's one of my OGs. I love that guy to death. I will go to bat for him forever. So I want to especially thank him for giving me this opportunity. Thank him for understanding. When we talked, privately about why I was making this decision to move on from DSM Media. I want to thank him for understanding that, because it's just on the whole point of this is to just continue getting bigger and better. And this opportunity that I have, I'm going to be joining, I'll just say it now, the Philadelphia Sports Network, PSN, Philly Sports Network. I'll be joining their ranks. The show tomorrow's the only show that's canceled. I'm just taking a morning off to sleep in a little bit, get an extra hour of sleep, but then Monday morning, right back at it. So if you're following me on Twitter at Beard and Knowledge, you'll find all the links there. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll see the links there. If not, Philly Sports Network on YouTube. That is where you will see my shows. Over the last 16 months, I've met so many great people. Cole, Carter, Kyle. Me and Kyle, we're friends from high school. And if it wasn't for shows and Facebook and social media, we've reconnected through it. Drew, I appreciate your support. Big Ed, if you're watching, my man, I hope your son helps you set up your computer so you find my new channel, because I love you, Big Ed. I love all the support from Mark and Jason. We become so close doing these shows, and they will be joining me on occasion on the new network. Now, I will be joining a new network. There's a whole cast and crew of great writers and sports reporters over there, and you're going to see so many new faces and whatnot on that channel. But again, thank you to everybody on DSM Media. Thank you to Scotty and Dylan and everybody else. Greatly appreciate it. It's also Fairway to Heaven will be moving with me as well. But this is it. This is Trending in the AM. I am Phil Stiefel. For DSM Media, like and subscribe one final time to their channel. Phil Stiefel's done on DSM Media with Trending in the AM. We'll see you next week on the new network. Same time, different channel. Everybody have a great day, and ring that damn bell.
And Philadelphia has it.